Hello everyone, my name is Gareth Slabinski, and this is the first lesson of a multi-part complementary series where I teach you the basics of Python. This series will be the first part of the bootcamp located at the evolvecoding.com website. Let's begin. This is the introductory class. First lesson, before we get into any coding, first you need to know what Python is, or what coding is in general. And we're going to be learning about the Python programming language and what is it. Before we start learning, first we need to understand what coding means, and every machine and system uses coding to run itself, and is essentially the brains behind all electronic equipment, including electric cars, robots that assemble computers, parts, electronic equipment, beds, or any robots in general. It's used in video games, it's used everywhere. Every electronic piece of equipment has some coding built into it. And coding is done with programming languages, such as Python. This is the language that the code speaks, and it's then compiled down into more simpler language for the computer to understand. More binary, like ones and zeros. Say when you have a button, and let's call this button button A. You press the button, and the code behind the button A turns on light A. Or as we would phrase it as programmers, when button A is pressed, light A is turned on. And we will learn all this logic and code later on as we start programming. There are many different languages, such as Java and C, which do similar things as Python, but with different language or different syntax. These languages are more complex for us to read, but it's more simpler for the computers to read, while Python is harder for computers to read and easier for us to read, because the computer has to do less work with Java and C than it has to do with Python, because it's more closer to that binary output that we want the computer to read. And what is Python? What's so special about it? Well, Python is a high-level programming language that allows you to build basically anything you would like, from websites with the Django framework to full deep learning machine learning models that recognize faces and voice input, which we will learn in the bootcamp. Some uses of Python are data science, visualization, video game creation with Pygame, hacking, web development, artificial intelligence, machine learning, web scraping, robotics and hardware, and many other uses. More specifically, why are we using Python? Well, it's the number one language for machine learning and artificial intelligence. It's the best and simplest language to learn for beginners, as it is very high level and has many functions and libraries that are built in to simplify your coding. Python syntax, which is the language as we said before, is very easy to read for us, and difficult tasks can be simply performed with this language in very few lines of code. It also works with every operating system, so you could use it with your Apple laptop, you could use it with Microsoft, Linux if you have one. And who uses Python? Python is used by NASA, little children, enthusiasts, everybody that wants to stick with simplicity yet high performance. And the real world application and mastery of Python is a great skill that is high demand in today's job market. Many companies are willing to hire people who know Python very well. This is very important and can do many things, as we said before. Before we begin, let's set up everything. Of course, we can't code without having a place to code, so for this bootcamp, we'll be using Kaggle, which is an online IDE, and we'll download local IDE later on, but for now we'll use Kaggle because it's much simpler to set up, and it doesn't use any computer processing power or anything like that. And it also makes using Python much simpler because everything is visual, and you can run it with a couple clicks of a button. And to make your Kaggle account, we'll do this on here really quickly. So first you will go to kaggle.com, and then you would press this register button. So what you would do is you would either register with Google, register your email. So I will register with email right now. So email address, we'll use our email at evolvecoding, evolvecoding20@gmail.com. And then you can put in a password. And then you can put your full name displayed. So I'll put my name, you can put your name, then you would press this. Unless you want to subscribe to the newsletter, receive updates from Kaggle competitions, you can do that. I'm not going to do that right now though. My apologies, the username is already taken with my other account, so if your username is already taken, add a number to it, change it up a little, just so you remember it. That's very important. And also make sure that you write your email and password down on a piece of paper so you don't forget it. It's very important. Of course, you could always change your password, but that's a hassle. It's much easier to write something down on a piece of paper, so you never have to change your password again. Then you agree to the terms, and then you go to the email. So I'll do this really quickly. So now I've put in the code that was sent to my email, and then we press next. And then you'll be brought to this page. So what we'll do in the coding camp, Most of the time we'll just be working on kernels because Kaggle is built for machine learning and data science. So all your stuff can be done on here. Very simple, very neat, very effective. That's why we're going to be using it for the bulk of this program. What we're going to be using is Kaggle notebooks, and it basically allows you to run Python code in chunks, which makes it easier for you to debug it and allows for easier visualization, and like you can make charts and it'll show right below the code. You'll see in a moment. So now let's open up our first Kaggle kernel. So what you would do is you would go here and then you press notebooks. And to the right here, you see there's a button, press plus new notebook. So here we can click this button. And then once it loads, obviously we're going to be using Python. We're not going to be using R, that's a different language. And we're going to be pressing notebook. We're going to be working with notebooks mainly because they're a lot simpler to work with than script. So then you create, and then you can name this notebook whatever you would like. So we'll name it my first notebook. So as you can see, it'll take a minute or two to prepare this notebook, and I'll see you right when it's done. So now we're back, and as you can see, you're loaded with a lot of different code. We're going to be learning all of this code in detail in our coding camp, but for now, you can just delete it all. And in this kernel, we're going to be writing most of our code in here. We're going to be going through the layout of this notebook as we move along the course. So first things first, we all have to print the most common introductory line of code, hello world. And to run this line of code, all you do is press this button and bam. Right under here, you have a line of code that says hello world. We're going to be learning exactly what you can do inside of here, different types of ways you can show output to the user. So I'll see you guys next time where we're going to be learning about variables and the different types of variables you can make in Python. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.